Okay, let's talk about gaseous exchange. Okay, so I've drawn a little human. He's going to inhale oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide. This will go through the body via the lungs. So it'll go down and up the windpipe, which is also known as the trachea. It'll separate into the bronchi, and it'll separate further into the bronchioles. At the end of each bronchiole, you have these tiny air sacs which are called alveoli. Okay, let's draw a bigger picture of an alveoli. Okay, so this is the alveoli air sac, and this is the capillary. Remember, you have loads of capillaries surrounding the alveoli, not just one. But this is just illustration. So thin walls of the capillary and tiny air sacs for the alveoli. But just remember that capillaries surround the alveoli. Okay, all around. Okay, blue pen. Deoxygenated blood goes from the blood vessels into the alveoli to be exhaled. Okay, so I've put here deoxygenated blood contains carbon dioxide and it gets diffused back into the alveoli to be the word exhaled. So the key words are deoxygenated, carbon dioxide, diffused, and exhaled. Now the opposite of that would be, yes, my red pen, oxygenated. So if we breathe in oxygen, this gets diffused back into the capillaries from the alveoli. Don't know why I put then twice, but then it goes to the heart via the pulmonary vein, and then it goes to the working muscles or organs that require oxygen. This process here, diffusion. This process here, also diffusion. Okie dokie. Let's look here. This brown pen will represent the cell walls of the alveoli. Remember, very, very thin. Walls of the capillary, equally very, very thin. Okie dokie, moving on. So, I'm just writing here, the walls have to be thin so that gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide can and will pass through them. So this is my wall, cell wall, and when it goes from one area to the other, diffusion. Let's look at this further. So here I have drawn a halfway line separating the alveoli and the capillary. Okay, so on one half we have, as you know, oxygenated. Oh, that was hard to say. Oxygenated and deoxygenated. Okay, so let's look at this word diffusion. Okay, so gases move down a concentrated gradient. So it goes from a high concentrated to a low concentrated area. So an example of this would be, so blue pen mates, blue pen. Okay, so carbon dioxide is in the blood vessels and oxygen is in the alveoli. So as we know, the blood vessels contain carbon dioxide, so therefore it's a high concentrated area. This needs to go into the low concentrated area where there are none, and that's the high concentrated, and it needs to go into the low concentrated. This process is called diffusion. Okay, so I'm writing here alveolus, which is a singular term, and this is capillaries, which is a singular term. Okay, so when it goes from the alveolus, it's a high concentrated, moves into a low concentrated area. So when we look at this process, it is called diffusion, and that is of oxygen. Now the opposite would be, oh yeah, you got that wrong, low concentration to a high concentration. So the opposite, and that would be of carbon dioxide, vice versa. Okie dokie. So if we give ourselves a little cheeky question, the question would be, which blood vessel has the role of gaseous exchange? I don't know. Capillaries. Yeah, we know it's capillaries, okay? Why is it capillaries? I'll tell you why. Because the walls are very, very thin, as we have discussed in this video, and that allows the gases to diffuse easily.